Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a classic spiritual text. And I mean, we're talking about the big questions, the ones about meaning, purpose, and really our place in this whole universe.
So we're going to journey through four big ideas, all right? First, we'll look at our emotions. Then we'll tackle the mystery of the divine. After that, we'll get into the different layers of love and connection. And we'll wrap up by facing, our own mortality. Ready? Let's get into it.
All right, first up, something I think we all know a little too well. That feeling of being on an emotional roller coaster, right? Those amazing highs and then those crushing lows.
The text kicks off with this question that just hits you right where you live. It totally gets that constant swing between feeling on top of the world and then just despair. It's so much of what it means to be human. So what's the deal? What's the answer here?
Okay, so check this out. The core idea here is kind of a mind bender. The peak and the valley, they aren't actually two different things. The text basically says that the more we chase that peak, that feeling of happiness or sukh, the more we're setting ourselves up for the valley of sorrow or dukh. It's like they're two sides of the exact same coin. Chasing one automatically invites the other.
So the big takeaway isn't to, try and live on that peak forever. Come on, that's impossible, right? The real trick is to picture your emotions like a pendulum swinging back and forth. And the goal? It's not to stop it on the joy side. It's to step back and just watch it swing, to become this neutral witness and find that perfectly still point right in the middle.
And here's the really practical, kind of counterintuitive part. The text gives this amazing piece of advice. Don't start practicing this when you're sad. I mean, it's easy to want to run away from pain, right? But the real challenge, the deep work, is to learn to detach from pleasure. Yeah, when you're feeling absolutely amazing, that's the moment to practice stepping back and just observing it. If you can learn to watch your joy without getting totally swept away, you'll build the muscle you need to watch your sorrow too.
Okay, so let's shift gears. We're moving from our own inner world to, well, the ultimate nature of reality. A pretty big jump, huh? So how do you define something that's, well, undefinable? The text has this beautiful, simple answer. You don't. Think about it. The second you define something, you put a box around it. You create a limit. But the divine, or Paramatma, is supposed to be limitless, right? I love this analogy. A definition is like a closed fist, trying to grasp something. But a pointer is an open hand, just showing the way to something vast. So, instead of giving us a box, the text gives us pointers. And where are they pointing? Not up to some faraway heaven or in some ancient book. No, they're pointing right here, right now. It's in the sound of your kid laughing, in the green of the trees outside your window, in your own face in the mirror. The divine isn't something out there to be found. It's the very air we breathe, the fabric of everything. We're already in it.
And here's where it really challenges our normal way of thinking. It warns us not to get trapped by simple logic. You know that old argument, if there's a pot, there must have been a pot maker? It sounds logical, but the text says that's just an idea in your head. It's not a direct experience. The truth, it says, is way more mind-blowing. The pot and the pot maker aren't separate. They're one. Just like an ocean isn't separate from its waves.
All right, let's bring all this high-level stuff back down to earth, into something we all grapple with, love. And the text has this incredible way of looking at it, not as just one thing, but as a kind of ladder, with three different levels, three different rungs of connection.
And to explain this, there's this fantastic little story, a parable. It's about a king who gives his three sons the exact same challenge and the same amount of money. And what they do with it? Well, it tells you everything you need to know. So the first son, he's a practical guy. He fills the palace with the cheapest stuff he can find, garbage. I mean, it's full, sure, but it stinks. The second son, he's a little more refined. He fills the palace with gorgeous flowers. It smells amazing, for a little while. Then, of course, they wilt and rot. But the third son, he does something totally different. He doesn't fill the palace with a thing at all. He fills it with light, thousands of tiny lamps. And that light fills up every single nook and cranny and then just spills out into the gardens, into the world.
And this is just a perfect metaphor for the three levels of love. The first son, that's calm or lust. It's physical, it's transactional, and at the end of the day, it's like living in a house full of garbage. It just leaves you feeling empty. The second son is prem, what we think of as romantic love. It's beautiful, it's emotional, like a palace full of flowers, but it's temporary, it fades. And then you have the third son. This is prarthana, a kind of prayerful spiritual love.
This isn't about getting something or possessing someone. It's about illumination. It's a light that fills you up and just radiates outward.
And this highest level is described with another powerful image. Think about it. You can put two lamps right next to each other, and the lamps themselves will always be two separate things. But their light? The light just becomes one. There's no boundary, no separation. It's just a single, unified glow. That is what this highest love is like.
Okay, for our final section, we're going to tackle the big one, the question that hangs over all of us. Let's talk about death.
You know, the text doesn't pull any punches here. It lays out a really stark truth. Death isn't this thing that might happen to you way off in the future. It's a process, and that process started the very second you were born. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. It's the only thing in life that is 100% certain.
So if it's so certain, why are we so afraid of it? Here's the key insight. The text says our fear doesn't actually come from death itself. It comes from the fact that we spend our whole lives resisting it. We're fighting a battle we can never, ever win. That struggle, that resistance, that's the source of the fear. So the answer isn't to fight harder. It's to stop fighting. It's about radical acceptance.
And to help us get our heads around this idea of acceptance, it points to a cool biological fact. Did you know that every 7 years, give or take, pretty much every single cell in your body has been replaced? So the physical you from 7 years ago, that person is literally gone. You've already died and been reborn tons of times on a cellular level. You aren't some static thing. You're a process, always changing.
And that brings us to the ultimate point about death. It's all a case of mistaken identity. See, we think we are our bodies. We think we're this temporary house that was born and is going to die. But the whole journey is about realizing that's not who you are. Your true identity is the consciousness living inside the house, the resident. And that consciousness, it was never born and it can never die. You aren't the house. You're the one living in it.
And so we're left with this really provocative final idea. The moment we stop thinking we're just this temporary body, that tight knot of fear just unties. And it leaves us with this massive question, one that just flips everything upside down. What if this whole life, this thing we hold on to so tightly, what if it's all just a dream? And what if death isn't the end, but the moment we finally truly wake up?